Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nara and here we're discussing all things astrology, spirituality, and this video is about Cancer, Sun, Rising, or Moon in the first house. So let's get started. So Cancer is ruled by Moon, right? And Leo is ruled by Sun. So Cancer represents a mother figure because Moon is a female energy. Moon has female energy. It's the mother of the zodiac. And Sun is a paternal figure, is the authoritarian figure and ruled by Leo, and it represents a masculine energy. So since Cancer is ruled by Moon and Moon is the fastest moving planet, it's not really a planet, but you get the point, right? So Moon changes zodiac signs every other day or every 2 days. And Moon is the fastest, to change the zodiac signs and the houses. Unlike other planets, for instance, like Pluto or Saturn or Jupiter, it takes a long time. It takes years for those planets to move a zodiac sign. However, when it comes to Moon, it moves all the time. So that's why, and Moon represents emotions, and that's why we know that Cancer fluctuates emotionally. And the reason being is because the Moon changes signs and the house system almost every other day. And can you imagine, it directly impacts Cancers. So wherever their Moon is placed, meaning like wherever Moon is, whatever zodiac sign the Moon is entering, so the emotions will be basically embedded in the characteristics of that zodiac sign, and the Cancer will basically feel it pretty much every other day, different set of emotions. So I love Cancer, but it's not easy to be Cancer since, Moon moves zodiac signs so much. And you will notice, even if you're not a Cancer, but you have like Cancer rising or Cancer moon, you will feel your energies and emotions shift pretty much on a daily basis. And the reason being is the one I just described. Also, when it comes to Moon represents the unconscious part of our brain, whereas Sun represents the conscious part of our brain, something that we do through our conscious minds, meaning we set intentions, we think consciously and then go and execute, right? However, we also have a unconscious part of our brain which stores all of the behavioral patterns, the thought patterns and traumas and stuff like that, right? So we might think consciously of, like, oh, I want this and I'm gonna get it done, right? Or I'm gonna achieve this. But then while doing it, the unconscious part of your brain starts to manifest the patterns of behavior that might prevent or accelerate you achieving your conscious goal. So if you're struggling with setting right intentions and sticking to the plan, look into your unconscious. Try to do therapy work or shadow work, because Moon carries all of the subconscious patterns that are sometimes accelerating our lives and allows us to behave in such a way that allows us to get the things that we want faster. Or it can work in the opposite direction as well, where you have patterns of behavior that actually are detrimental to your growth and fulfillment. And before you are getting rid of those limiting beliefs that are stored in your subconscious mind, you won't be able to consciously manifest or stick with whatever plan. Okay, so that's just one thing about Moon. We're not even talking about Cancer. So Moon is very, very sensitive. Okay, Moon is sensitive, and wherever your Moon is placed in whatever area of your life, that will represent the weakness in your life. How can I put it? Not the weakness, but something that you feel, the area of your life where you feel the most sensitive in and you're the most unconscious in. Okay, so for example, in my personal chart, my Moon is in Taurus, but my Moon is in the 8th house of Scorpio, right? I mean, 8th house naturally belongs to Scorpio, and it's a house of crises, investments, bank, shared money and stuff like that. So when it comes to money, and all of my pretty much money houses, the second, the sixth, and the eighth are, no, actually the 10th house is also the money house, but eighth house is also considered as a money house. All of those houses are in water signs. So what does it mean? It means, for me personally, plus having a moon in the eighth house, I'm very, very sensitive when it comes to my finances and investments, banking system, shared accounts, just whatever is related to the banking system. It's all the eighth house. It's the loans, it's the credits you have, be other people's money, it can be your partner's money. And that area of my life is the most sensitive. And I also have a black moon Lilith there, literally in conjunction with moon, and then Ketu as well. So it's a very sensitive area in my life. However, if you look at other areas where I don't have a moon, it's very different. And then also, wherever your moon is placed at whatever house contains the Cancer will be in some way interconnected. So again, I'm gonna bring my chart as an example. So my moon is in the 8th house, right? But I'm a Libra rising, and my Cancer is in the 10th house of midheaven, career and reputation. So those two houses are connected, okay? Those two houses are connected. How? So 8th house, partner's money, loans, and whatever. By being able to get support from my partner, or loans or whatever, I'm able to put a conscious effort to execute my business in the 10th house. However, if I don't get the loan, I won't be able to do a startup in the 10th house, if that makes sense. So these two houses are interconnected, and I want you to look at your chart and find where your moon is placed and what house contains a Cancer, and then interpret them together. That's going to be so much easier for you. But a Cancer as a zodiac sign is very, very motherly like. It's very sensitive. My mom is a Cancer. She's the 1st degree early Cancer. They're very sensitive, they're very emotional, and their emotions fluctuate, like I said, right? But they're very subjective in the way they analyze their life or situations or people around them. They have such strong emotions and intuition, right? Which constantly triggers them, okay? Since again, the moon moves so much, right? And so fast. So they get emotional literally out of nowhere sometimes, right? And instead of objectively looking at their emotions and trying to understand what they're trying to tell you, Cancers, they have a subjective interpretation of their emotions, and then they start acting based on that subjective interpretation, what usually gets them in trouble or gives them a bad reputation, right? So for instance, let me give an example of a few Cancers that I know. My sister is a Cancer as well, but she's a little bit more mature than my mom Cancer, I would say. So Cancers are, let's say my mom gets emotional out of nowhere. She just remembers something. And right then and there, she gets into that mood of how she used to feel when that thing happened, right? And then imagine I call her and she's being so subjective. Let's say I had an exam, I did something, I started my business, whatever, and I'm telling her, she's not even interested in that. See, subjective mentality, subjective approach to life, which Cancers have. Not that she doesn't care, but she is more triggered by her emotions right now, and she needs to understand that. She needs to deal with that first, and she disregards whatever I tell her and literally narrows down the conversation to the situation that triggered her initially. And then we start talking about that, and whatever judgment I hear about the situation is very subjective and it's very biased. So I have a lot of Cancers in my family, 3 Cancers, and I have a lot of friends Cancers, and I've seen guys who are Cancers. And one thing, especially guys, it was like a shocking experience for me, because they're such babies in terms of they get emotional triggers, and they are so subjective in the way they judge them, and they literally snap at you or say something irrational and irrelevant that wasn't even related to that situation, and then you're like, oh my gosh, really? So yeah, I did have that experience, hence why I don't deal with cancers anymore. But cancers are really cool. They're really cool. Maybe like cancer men are not for me, but cancers are really, really good. And they're very sensitive, like I said. They're very caring for other people. You know, the cancer friend, I would love everybody to have a cancer friend. If you ain't got one, go get one, because these people are so reliable and so trustworthy. Sometimes they get in their own emotional subjectivity, which is impeding their progress and also impeding their ability to communicate with others constructively and in an, you know, objective way. However, they're very reliable people. You know, like I have cancer friends who I know if I call these people, they will back up, you know, me in whatever situation. You know, even if I'm, you know, something happened, an accident happened in a car or something, I know if I call a cancer friend, that person is gonna help me right then and there. That person will wake up in the middle of the night and come and pick me up and, you know, help me however they can. That's why cancers are incredible. They're very caring. They're very, very empathetic towards you, you know? And also, cancers are very emotional, like I said. And instead of, you know, letting your emotions rule your life, you know, it's best for cancers to find a profession that allows them to use that caring and empathetic energy, you know, in the profession. That's how you can get rid of your subjectivity in a way. So the professions that are great for cancers are chiropractors, massage therapists, something that allows people to relax, like nurses, which is, you know, it's a caring profession, you know, spa, salon, being, you know, a tech, like massage tech or something. For cancers, you gotta, guys, be very careful so that other people don't use and abuse you for what you have, for your empathetic nature, for your kindness, for your caring nature. Because literally, if somebody is in a bad situation, let's say they ain't got, you know, a place to stay, cancer would accept them, would let them live in their house, would cook for them, would buy stuff for them. And I've had so many friends who've done that and actually got burned, you know, by people because they did not appreciate any of those efforts. So as a cancer, you gotta know who deserves your empathetic and kind nature and who doesn't deserve it, okay? It's very important. Also, cancers are very sensitive to reputation and what other people think of them, which is similar to Libra. So be aware of that. Whatever your whatever house contains the zodiac sign of Cancer will basically give you that sensitivity. Let's say if your Cancer is in the 6th house of employed jobs, right? So that would mean that in your job, at your job, you're very vulnerable and sensitive to what other people think of you, like your boss, managers, your coworkers. So, you know, if you do have that inner, let's say, conflict where you're not sure what other people think of you or whether they are respecting you or not enough or not, whether you have a good reputation at this, you know, in the area of your life where you have Cancer. If you have this conflict, oh, do they like me? Don't they like me? Did I say, you know, the right words, or should I say something different? Because for Cancers, it's very possible to have this kind of thought process, and you get very sensitive, especially if people don't like you or, you know, they think something bad about you. And if that's you, just find whatever area in your life that happens in and try not to do it, because Cancers, they have that tendency. So yeah, so basically Cancer, the house with Cancer will have a lot of sensitivity, and also the house with Cancer will have a lot of, and also Moon will have a lot of patterns of behavior that you're unconscious of, or you might kind of see them every now and then, but not really work on them. So if that's you, please take the time and do the shadow work in the area of your life where your moon is placed, and will actually be very, very easy for you to determine in what area of your life you feel the most sensitivity in. For me, it's the 8th house, like I said. But let's talk about the first house. So, also Cancer. Cancer is the sign that belongs to the water element, right? And along with Cancer, we have Pisces and Scorpio, right? However, they're all different from one another. So Pisces is a mutable sign and is ruled by Neptune, and is very dreamy and literally gets, influenced and lost in their emotion and in other people's emotions and stuff like that, which is actually similar to Cancer. But when it comes to Pisces, they're just more, I would say, they're less straightforward. Cancers are more blunt and straightforward than Pisces are. Pisces are kind of all over the place. Sometimes they can't even gather their, thoughts and construct, a statement, a sentence out of it. So Cancers are different. Cancers are very quick to think, they quick to react because it's a cardinal mode, right? And because it's, ruled by moon, which is very reactive and sensitive. But Pisces is very sensitive and emotional, very empathetic as well. However, they get lost in their feelings, and sometimes they even forget why they feel a certain way, just because they go from one emotion to the other because of that mutable mode that Pisces has. And then we have Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto and is a fixed sign, which is actually the most fire out of water signs. And the story is entirely different. Yes, it is emotional, but it's not even emotions that Scorpio has, it's the feelings, the intense feelings about things that Scorpio has. And for Scorpio, it's really hard to forgive the betrayal because they have trust issues. It's really hard to trust people. It's really hard to even forgive people and forget what they've done. They can forgive you, but they will never forget what happened. And they will always, have this intense feeling about whatever happened, the object of, the culprit, whoever created that situation, that intense feeling of betrayal, right? Scorpio will never forget that and will always send that intense feeling telepathically to that person. When it comes to Cancer, they're quick to change their emotions because of the cardinal mode. And cardinal mode allows it to be blunt. Sometimes they can't hold back what they think about you, especially if you annoy them. They will literally tell you what they think about you pretty fast, and you will not wonder what's going on in Cancer's mind. Also, Cancers, they're emotional, but also that cardinal mode allows it faster to get over emotions, okay? So you might notice that Cancers are not that they emotionally only fluctuate, but they also shift moods pretty much on minute basis. Let's say they get emotional and they start crying or something, 5 minutes later they forgot about it and they're laughing. So that's the beauty of Cancer, which it's a great skill to have. Also, if you have a Cancer in the first house or a moon in the first house, you might be very intuitive of yourself. You might be intuitive about your own behavior. You might even know how to behave in certain situations because that intuition and that awareness of self is so strong when you have Cancer rising that you know what to say. You know how to behave to get what you want. And also with the first house Cancers, they can be more blunt than Sun Cancer, and they are very moody. They don't get stuck on bad emotions. They're quickly to change because of that cardinal mode. Also, if we are to look at the first house Cancer as a way to determine your physical appearance, Cancers tend to be more chubby than others, Cancer risings or moon in the first. But actually, all water sign risings tend to be a little bit bigger, like chubbier than, for instance, air signs, which is skinny usually. So they tend to be like, they have like round shape face, you know, like maybe like a little bit bigger than usual, from the appearance standpoint. What else? But if you have a moon in the first house, that might also mean that you're very, very connected to your parent and caretakers, most like probably mom or so. And even if you're like, we all know when we're children, we depend on our caretakers for, you know, food, shelter, and all of that stuff, right? And that's why we unconsciously, since childhood, we know that we need to win over our caretakers, because our survival depends on them, right? However, when a person gets older, they kind of forget about that and they're doing their own thing, and they don't feel obligated to look after and take care after their parents, right? However, if you have Cancer in the first or moon in the first, which is actually more likely to, you know, have this interpretation for moon in the first, is that you might be like over 30, but you might still feel like it's your responsibility to take care of your caregivers, even if you're not a child no more. But yeah, I think I've covered pretty much everything about Cancer. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I appreciate you for watching. And yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.